Pinball Hunter D, Special Win by Justin M. Bailey. Chapter 3. Fuck you, Gary Stern! Ash Lviv continued to laugh and laugh as she drove Damon and herself up Route 28 to Long Lake in his white Mercedes van. For the life of her, Ash Lviv could not stop laughing. It was perhaps the funniest thing she had ever heard since she first found out that werecats were immune to polio. Not to mention that any way you sliced it, Damon looked absolutely beyond ridiculously bad in his cheaply, poorly made, poorly put together werecat costume and makeup. Damon frankly looked like a Sesame Street employee that had just been fired for drinking on the job. Not to mention that ridiculously large sombrero he always insisted on wearing on the rare occasions when he actually chose to venture outside in broad daylight. And yet, strangely enough, so far, Damon had been right about one thing. For the first time in a long time, Ash Lviv was actually out driving. And in full beast mode, too. Minutes before, at the Dunkin' Donuts drive-thru, where they had just left behind, all Ash Lviv had to say was, "Comic-Con or bust?" to the drive-thru staff, and none of them were wiser for it. "Can we take a quick picture of you?" they even asked after getting over their initial shock of the feral beast at their window demanding coffee. "That getup is astounding," they told her. The workers told her. And for once, Ash Lviv had to agree. Her getup was quite astounding, wasn't it? "Sure," Ash Lviv said with a smirk, making sure to be a little extra busty, as she did. "Flaunt it or lose it," as her old me-mom used to say. "What a pathetic loser you are, Damon Hunter," Ash Lviv continued to chortle and needle and guffaw, as her werecat cosplaying compatriot Damon continued to grumble and bubble into the inside of his quadruple shot extra-large espresso coffee, while popping yet another Allegra pill from his Donald Duck Pez dispenser. "You're telling me that we are actually driving out today to pick up yet another pin for your stupid collection that's actually based on a movie, that's based on a book, that's based on your terrible and stupid family? Oh, if only Freud were here, eh? Oh, if only Sigmund Freud was still alive, eh, Damon? What would he say? For the last time, Ash, I did not kill him, I simply found him that way." Damon lied. Damon had honestly been the only creature in all of history guilty of giving old Freud a slip down some stairs. "Can you please just focus on the road?" Damon was hoping that his phone wasn't lying when it said some clouds were on the way to cover up some of the awful sun up a bit. His summer headache was flipping, killing him. "Anyways, thanks for this, Damon. All of your hang-ups aside, thank you for talking me into doing this. So far, so good, eh? Here's hoping we don't get killed." And this immediately triggered an alarm in Damon's head indeed. Here's hoping we don't get killed. Damon's memory began searching. Here's hoping we don't get killed. Wasn't that the exact same line Ash had said right before? Oh God, Damon thought with an eye roll. "Something you want to share with me, Ash?" Of course she would finally choose to pick this fight now. She could have easily brought any of this up any time the past 5 months. But of course she would choose right now. "Huh?" Ash Lviv said, sounding rather mockingly innocent indeed. "Here's hoping we don't get killed. Last time you said that, you let us all into the sewers beneath the Thames and got most of us brutally killed?" "Yeah, killed by Zoole." "Damon, it was your idea." "My idea? That thing had somehow made mincemeat out of the Black family, for God's sake. You heard what Toria said when we finally got her out and revived her. What the hell do you think that thing was going to do to the rest of London? Or the world, for that matter? Well, why the hell was it our job to ever stop it? Monsters battling monsters and all that," she said, rolling her yellow cat eyes. "And like you said, it made mincemeat out of the Black family. So what chance did we ever really have?" "I stopped it," Damon said, beyond incensed. After all, neither of them would be having this conversation right now. No sentient being across Eurasia would be having this conversation right now if Damon had not finally found a way to stop it, as only he could. The dreaded Alan Zoole back in Tunguska, 1908. It was not a meteor. Look it up. "Yeah, you did, Damon, and thank you for that. I'm just saying, it sucks to live in a world without our friends. We don't have a lot of them, Damon. Muckman, Solomon, Kojuni Kim, the immortal Hwarang, for God's sake. Toria, all gone. I'm just saying you have a pretty big blind spot when it comes to your uncle." "I beg your flipping pardon." "I saw that look on your face when we were going through what was left of the Black family's sanctum, when that summoning ceremony royally blew up in their faces. Though the history books never mentioned them, back then, in no way satisfied with secretly running and financing most of Europe, the Black family had once attempted to use their unlimited resources and power to summon a wish-granting angel from the very seat of God itself. But instead, they accidentally summoned Zoole from some anti-universe somewhere beyond our comprehension. So clearly, someone had forgotten to carry a decimal along the way. I saw that look on your face when you found your uncle's old research amongst the debris. Yeah, along with John D., Hermes Trismegistus, Swedenborg, the unknown Pope, and even Junior's dad, Victor Frankenstein's research. It was all there. They even had his skull, for God's sake, Damon. They had used your uncle's parts and knowledge to somehow summon that thing. So tell me, Damon, would you really have been that hellbent on stopping that plant-based hellspawn in the first place if it somehow didn't involve your uncle? And before you answer that, just what the hell exactly are we doing today? Just what the hell exactly are we driving around in broad daylight to pick up today? That's not fair, Ash. It is not flipping fair. You have never paid or picked up a restaurant tab in your entire life, as if that somehow made them even. You have never been capable of taking care of a single creature on this planet besides yourself. Look, all I'm flippin' saying, Damon, is be more careful. I've been hearing rumors lately. Rumors of what? Of a hunter. A hunter? Ash, it's the Adirondack Park. We're neck deep in hunters. Heck, Damon's good pinball collecting friend Raymond was even a huge hunter, for God's sake. Raymond hunted practically everything. I mean the kind that hunts us, smartass. A night stalker. Ah! In this day and age? If that were true, then why did you agree to come today? I don't know how much more internet I can take, Damon. It just feels like hell or high water. I gotta get out more. Eternity and Netflix is not a good combination. Well, how about that, Damon said, soon treating himself to a rather pouty-eyed catnap, as it were. Later, when Damon woke up, he found out that due to a busted taillight, a trooper had in fact pulled them over while he was resting. And the worst kind of trooper of all. A female trooper. Was she breastfeeding a kid when she pulled us over? Damon asked in a panic, and Ash Lviv almost turned gray in disgust. Yeah, I've literally had sex with Simone de Beauvoir, so don't. She glowered. So she left the kid at home. Okay. Damon was absolutely terrified of women with power. Hillary Clinton's upcoming 2016 presidential run, along with the soon-to-be-released Disney Frozen movie, was giving him some serious fucking nightmares as of late. So what did you tell her? Damon tried, popping yet another round of allergy medicine from good old Donald Duck. Told her the truth. You what? Sure. Werecats and vampire nephews and pinball machines, the whole lot. To which, after she gave it a pause and thought it over for a moment, the officer then started laughing hysterically. Ash, you're fucking kidding me right now, right? No, I told her. Damon, it felt so good just to tell the truth for once, you know? And nothing came of it. She wished us well at the costume ball or whatever we were going to. And then she started telling me about the UFO she once saw. Damon, do you know anything about UFOs? Damon? Damon was pinching the bridge of his nose so hard that it almost bled. No, I don't, Ash. But what Damon did know about was that Ash Lviv must have had some kind of a death wish. Or a life wish. When you thought about it, they were pretty much the same thing. Just go ask your average base-jumping mountain climber. Soon, according to the GPS, the home of Donald Lankar came into view, and it looked beyond upper middle class and boring. Damon muddled over what Ash Lviv had just said about his uncle and having blind spots or whatever, but what did Ash really know about anything anyways? How to always buy the wrong scratch ticket and bet on the wrong horse, that was for damn sure. Nothing about today was history repeating itself. How could it be? They were not driving to Long Lake to pick a fight with some kind of cosmic shrubbery beast beneath the sewers of London. No, today they were just simply picking up a pinball machine. A BSD for free, Damon reminded himself. And in no way did someone giving away a free BSD for free sound insane or unbelievable the more he thought about it whatsoever. A 60-year-old man with a single solitary Bram Stoker's Dracula pin in their garage. And not a Playboy or an 8-Ball Deluxe or even a TNG, just a Bram Stoker's Dracula made perfect sense when you made sure not to think of it too much. Oh dear God, what am I doing? Damon finally had to ask himself about today. The sun was literally slowly killing him, and the makeshift cat suit was itching and sweating from head to toe, and worst of all, suddenly panicked flashes of the monster-bashing massacre that had occurred within the inner layer of Zoole over a century back began flashing before his ancient old eyes. A glowing, pulsating thicket of engulfing green, glowing, almost artery-like veins everywhere. Some of them oozed, popping like festering boils. Even the sewer water somehow looked converted into some green, sappy, glowing mixture. Sewer tunnels and forgotten aqueducts, all decorated with rotting on the vine dead prostitutes and divas whose only crime had been hitting sour notes when Zoole had been in attendance. So many dead that day. And all because Damon had thought it was a good idea to try killing a plant monster by jamming a large wooden stake inside its chest when it was sleeping. Don't worry, with each passing year this sounded even more incredibly stupid to Damon. Oh, only if he had brought in a flamethrower that day. But trench warfare had not been invented yet. Red-eyed wide and furious as heck, Damon had always noticed that one eye had always looked bigger than the other whenever Zoole had not been in its fox human form. "You little shit!" Zoole had exploded from out of his chest pump-like, in appearance, wall-mounted immersion tank sarcophagus of sorts. Whatever the hell it was. "The fuck are you doing here, you wanker? I fucking thought throwing you off that opera house would be enough to make a little pain-ass like you go bugger off. But I guess not. I'll fuck you up good and proper now." Which had made Damon cringe, because now everyone beneath, all his friends, suddenly knew that Zoole hadn't exactly hunted down and nearly killed Damon, but rather Damon had tried hunting down Zoole and had gotten thrown off a Phantom of the Opera house instead. But before any of his friends could start chastising him, most of them were about to start dying instead. Because from out of the bowels of every single dead hooker and soprano and tenor, Zoole spawn began exploding everywhere, growing exponentially in size. As soon Zoole itself joined the fray, just as soon as it had located its favorite top hat. "You motherfucker!" Before Damon knew it, he could see sitting out front on the house's top step what appeared to be a nice old man with glasses, a gray ponytail, an old paunch, and an old faded black Fleetwood Mac t-shirt, waving and friendlily walking towards their parked van. If this guy turned out to be the Night Stalker Ashleviv had just mentioned, he most certainly did not look the part. At all. Here's hoping we don't get killed, Damon thought to himself, before together they exited the van. "Well, ring-a-ding-ding, look at you," Donald Lankar had said, soon eyeing the assumed-to-be in costume Ashleviv the werecat up and down. At times like this, Damon wished he couldn't hear it, when in anticipation the body started deviating blood flow to certain male nether regions. "Oh, this old thing?" Ashleviv said with a twirl, like in no way this was her first rodeo at all. "Countless hours of time and effort, I assure you." "Yes, indeed," Donald had said, lowering his glasses, soon turning his attention to what can only be described as a Damon dressed up as a poor man's furry. "Though I can't say I'm all that impressed with your boyfriend. You know, son, unless you're in fact of Mexican descent, I can't say I approve of the sombrero either. If people are allowed to put on a cape and say blah every Halloween, I think I'm okay with the hat." "What?" Donald exclaimed. His liberal Hollywood mind had no idea how to deal with that one. "Oh, ha ha ha, dearie," Ashleviv said. Dearie, Damon thought. Pay him no mind. He's just here to make me look good. Ashleviv grinned. They did at times like this make a good pair. "What's going on, Mr. Lankar?" Damon said, offering his hand for a manly handshake. "I've been a huge fan of your dad these past couple of seasons." "Oh, him," Donald said, almost dismissive of his 93-year-old old man. "Pay him no mind. He cheated on my mom more times than we had apples in our orchards." The Lankars had in fact once run one of the largest orchards in all of Peru, just south of Plattsburgh. And that story he always tells about killing a Nazi during the resistance, pure fiction, which perhaps helps explain why I got so good at it. Must run in the family, you see. "So your dad says you have a pin you'd like to get rid of? Was that also fiction, or—" "Oh yes, of course, indeed, if you will just follow me. I have it in the garage, right over here. I can't tell you how sorry I'll finally be to see it go. You know what I absolutely love about it? Its ugliness." Ugliness? Yes, it's ugliness. That alone made it worth keeping as a piece of modern art. Plus, in New York, in the 70s, Dracula was so big. The 70s? Blood began flowing away from Damon's male nether regions. "Oh my, yes, the 70s, Donald bemused. The 70s was such a great time. Damon had lived it, and he had absolutely hated the 70s. The movies, the music, Studio 54, Saturday Night Live, Saturday Night Fever. Everybody was dancing and having a good time, and experimenting, he said, giving Ashleviv a look. Back then, there was this phenomenal Broadway play of Dracula, starring Frank Langella, and everybody who saw it was getting laid, and what the hell does any of this have to do with the pin I'm taking off your hands? Well, because I got it in the 70s, Donald said, pausing rather oddly indeed before his large garage door, and Damon paused. No, you didn't. Well, what do you mean I didn't? Donald said with a patronizing, almost elder statesman laugh. Well, how could you have gotten it in the 70s if it didn't come out until 93? Because it didn't come out in 93. I mean, I was there, right? Oh, do you mean the one based off of the Gary Oldman film? Which one else is there, Donald? Well, how about this one? Donald said. With a flash, Donald's garage door soon opened, revealing what easily had to be the greatest shock delivered to Damon's system since... You little shit! Here's hoping we don't get killed. Oh, fuck you, Gary Stern, Damon thought. It was Indiana Jones all over again. Within Donald's old hipster garage lay before Damon what was easily the ugliest, cheapest, and perhaps the most ridiculous-looking pinball monstrosity he had ever seen. The back glass most certainly said Dracula, to be sure, but why the hell was his uncle standing on top of a cheap mansion, looking like some high school vice principal, as what appeared to be a torch-bearing wedding rehearsal party mobbing towards him? Why the hell was a wedding rehearsal party coming to stop him? No angry mob in all of existence had ever looked so well dressed. And why the hell was there a glowing, satanic, mandrill chimpanzee monkey taking up most of the playfield art? Why the hell did the whole thing look like someone puked up a bunch of Skittles all over it, some random ramps, and a bunch of bargain basement Halloween store crap everywhere? Who the hell did the side artwork? Some third grader doing some paint by the numbers crap? What the hell is this? Damon finally Chernobyl. It's the 1970s Dracula pin by Stern, Lankar exclaimed. I thought you were supposed to be the pinball expert around here, lad. Well, you clearly don't know much about Dracula, that's for sure. And Ashleviv gulped hard, maybe even feeling a light sprinkle of pee wafting down her leg, soon fearing that there was about to become a very large mess to clean up indeed. After all, Damon had killed Sigmund Freud for less. Damon's eyes flashed back right into Zoole's lair, right before Toria had self-destructed herself to buy him, Ash, and Stella some time to escape. They had spent an entire summer, spring, and winter simply trying to rescue Toria from the clutches of the Black family, and a month later, it didn't count for diddly. And that night, same as now, Damon knew exactly whose fault this all had been. This is all your fault! Damon had screamed and screamed at that stupid pin with his uncle's likeness, same as he had screamed 100 years ago, next to the moonlit waters of the Thames River, after escaping and coughing and screaming and throwing up everywhere. This is all your fault, Damon had screamed. It definitely wasn't his fault. How could it be? All of it had to be Uncle Vlad's fault. Because Uncle Vlad, aka Dracula, had once given Damon the worst curse of all. And he wasn't talking about the undead curse either. No, he wasn't talking about being perpetually transformed into a creature of the night. No, he was talking about the worst human curse of all, and that was caring. The curse of conscience. The worst human curse of all. After all, as a human, Damon had once easily been the youngest and happiest, up-and-coming, selfish, and beyond corrupt, noble-blooded member of the Orthodox clergy. Damon had honestly, deliberately picked to become an investigative bishop. Because what the heck was there ever really to investigate? If the whole church was nothing but a big scam, Damon might have been the world's first atheist, then the same had to be true about witches, exorcisms, werewolves, and the woods? Ha! No, it all had to be fake. It all had to be a con. And when everything beneath your feet was nothing but a great big con, why not be the greatest con man in all of the kingdom? But then one day something weird began happening. Suddenly, noble women started popping up dead, with strange marks on their neck. Not a single drop of blood left in them. And all of them were somehow brutally killed, with guards outside in some of the tallest towers in the kingdom. How could it be possible for any man to get up there? And Damon was suddenly forced to solve the mystery of the world's first vampire. And where the hell do you think that got him? Drink, you pathetic little bitch, drink. Drink and spend the rest of eternity contemplating your utter callowness and douchebaggery. That's right, Damon, none of it is real. It's all just a big con. Ah! Modern-day Damon screamed, unleashing and extending from his right hand razor-sharp talons so large that Freddy Krueger would become unspeakably jealous, as flames from hell began spreading and exploding from out of his left. Before Ash could blink or speak, the maroon-colored pin was slashed into bits, smashed and burned to, well, ash, while Damon screamed at Donald Lankar, "If nobody ever believes people when Bill Murray steals and eats their french fries at some random Wendy's, well, just who the hell do you think is ever gonna believe you? You don't think I know Dracula, huh?" In her terror, and Ash Lviv most certainly was terrified, she still could not help but think, Damon is doing a pretty good impression of the black guy from those Pulp Fiction movies. And before anyone could say boo, Damon's talons and flames popped back into him, back to whatever male nether region they had once come from, leaving a frozen Donald Lankar, who looked like he had just talked smack about Medusa at the next Greek mythology reunion, soon behind two of the only three creatures to survive their confrontation with Zoole. The doors of Damon's Mercedes van slammed shut as Ash turned the ignition switch. But before leaving, Damon lowered his window to shout, "And by the way, dude, your dad totally killed a Nazi one time. I know a good throat-slitting story when I hear it." "Well, at least I finally know what it's like to kill my uncle," Damon said while adjusting his cat costume and sombrero. And though the silence between the two of them was palatable, soon it was cut in half by Ash Lviv laughing again, and laughing and laughing and laughing. "What?" Damon finally had to ask, sounding rather vulnerable indeed. "What, you gonna give me more Freudian crap?" Damon wanted to lie and totally say he found Freud that way, but he knew better. "You gonna call me a pathetic loser? Or rub in my face? How I always seem to notice everything? Absolutely everything save what's right in front of my face? Or how history's repeating or any of that crap?" Damon. "Yeah, Ash. Damon, that was awesome!" Did you see the look on that guy's face? That was the craziest, most fun I've had in decades. "Really?" Damon said, absolutely not believing his ears. "Yeah, Damon. This was the first non-scratch ticket adventure I've had in a long time." "Ha! Damon, seriously. If this is what pinball collecting is all about, you've got to count me in next time. Comic-Con or bust, baby!" Damon stared at Ash Lviv beyond flabbergasted belief. And whether either of them had realized it, Ash Lviv might have just given something back to Damon. Something Damon had wanted for a very long time. Something that made him feel a whole lot better, even when he had finally put a stop to Zoole. In the end, killing Zoole turned out to be incredibly easy. Just give the bastard the vampire kiss. You give a plant-based monster who gets most of his energy from the sun a vampire kiss, and then suddenly the sun is no longer its friend, now is it? Zoole had once come beyond close to doing what Damon's uncle never could. Sucking the life out of almost the entire planet, shooting itself back into space. But instead, thanks to a clever bite on Damon's part, "You little shit!" "Drink it, you fool," Damon had cackled. "Drink it and become one with me. But not one with me. Become one of the night, but not really the night, you fucking asshole. Fuck you, Zoole." And Zoole's massive final form had exploded, so large that it had sent Damon halfway across Siberia, in desperate need for some rest, relaxation, and a good therapist. Now, in the year 2013, Damon looked over at Ash and offered a smile, as warm as the sun that had once killed Zoole and was slowly doing the same to him now. "Comic-Con or bust," Damon grinned. "Comic-Con or bust!" Ash Lviv shouted. But before finally rolling up his window, Damon could not help but shout one final thing as they drove off. "Fuck you, Gary Stern!" as they drove away into the bright sky together.